Hi everyone, and welcome to Placeology. I'm Megan.
And I'm Andrew.
And we make videos that celebrate and compare the places that are all around us. And this week we're talking about our favorite places to experience fall. Imagine, summer comes to a close, a little chill sneaks into the air, the leaves start to change and fall off the trees, you switch from iced coffee to a warm latte, and the sun starts to set earlier and earlier.
We just love fall. And we're going to be honest, there are just some places where it's better to experience it than others. So come along and let us take you to where the sweaters are soft, the pumpkin patches are perfect, and the world is ablaze in the brilliant shades of fall. Before we jump into our list, we should note that since we're both from the East Coast, our list is more East Coast focused, or entirely. We're sure that there are some really great fall places on the West Coast and central United States, but these are the ones that we are the most familiar with based on past experience and living where we do.
Now here we go! Starting off with a bang, our first fall place is Stowe Vermont. Nestled in between Mount Mansfield and several peaks of the Green Mountains, Stowe is a small town of about 4,000 people located in Lamoille County. Though it is nicknamed the ski capital of the East, this town is not just sensational in the winter, but also beautiful during the fall months. With fall foliage that is a breathtaking array of reds, oranges, and yellows, this picturesque town is really the pinnacle of fall color. Stowe is your dreamy fall place for those of you looking for the perfect Instagram picture. You want to catch this one early in the season though, since its location means that peak color typically occurs before mid-October for almost all the scenic driving routes in the area. Things to do and see in the area include taking a ride along one of the many scenic drives just outside of town. Go Stowe has mapped out 11 different scenic drives that start at the visitor center and weave through various areas that include different points of interest such as rivers, streams, and farms. One of the loops even includes the Ben & Jerry's ice cream factory. There are also several lodges in Stowe, all of which may provide a cozy backdrop for any season of visiting, but one of note is the Von Trapp Family Lodge. If you're a fan of the Sound of Music, you may recognize the Von Trapp family as the family that Maria joined in the popular movie. Since the movie is based on true events, the real-life Von Trapp family did manage to leave their home in Europe and make their way to the United States, where they settled in Vermont and opened up the Von Trapp Lodge. And oh yeah, the town also puts on a pumpkin chuck-in festival. And yes, it is what it sounds like. People build their own gravity-powered catapults and then compete to see who can throw the pumpkins the greatest distance. With all these things to do and with the beautiful foliage, Stowe is sure to be a great destination in the fall.
Heading south just a tad, we find the gorgeous Berkshire Mountains of western Massachusetts. The Berkshires are an extension of Vermont's Green Mountains, and while not geographically a very big area, they are a storied destination as a secluded retreat from the city life of coastal New England. The Nature Conservancy named the Berkshires one of the 12 last great places, and it's easy to see why when they're draped in the colors of fall. If you're looking to just go for a drive and take in the colors of the season, this is the place to do it. At the heart of the Berkshires is the small town of Stockbridge, home to an adorable main street that was made iconic by Stockbridge's most famous former resident, artist Norman Rockwell. Although Rockwell's painting of the main street was set at Christmas, fall is undoubtedly one of the best times to visit and make your way through the hustling and bustling shop. There's something to do for almost everyone in the Berkshires. For the art enthusiast, Norman Rockwell's Studio and Museum. For the literary buff, Edith Wharton's home, The Mount. And for the music lover, the Boston Symphony Orchestra's summer home of Tanglewood is located in Lenox. These attractions are great at any time of year, but we highly recommend it in the fall. It's the beauty of the surrounding area, especially the churches, that make this place so great.
If you're looking for a place to stay as your home base while you tour the Berkshires, Vermont, and generally the colorful countryside this time of year, we recommend nearby Albany, New York. Plus, the capital region of New York State is another great place to enjoy the fall months. It's got the great fall foliage of many of the other places on the list, and some interesting areas to see it from. With tons of great orchards, apple picking is a must in this area. We really enjoyed a visit to Bowman Orchards, which has the full gamut of apple picking fun, treats, and even a petting zoo. Apple cider donuts are a fall food staple, and this orchard certainly had some great ones. There's also a historic marker out front, as this is where the originator of the Macintosh apple was from. Nearby, the historic Erie Canal is also lovely this time of year, with great fall color in the trees along it. We drove along the Mohawk River nearby and loved the picturesque drive. Neat hamlets like Vischer's Ferry make the ride perfect for vernacular architecture lovers as well.
Okay, we've been dwelling a little on the Northeast so far, so let's hop around a bit. One place that you might not find on your average what to do in the fall list is lower Southeastern Pennsylvania, or as some would call it, Amish country. A scattered group of must-dos around this general area make it worthy of inclusion on our list, particularly Lancaster County and Gettysburg. Lancaster County, Pennsylvania is located along the Susquehanna River and is a popular tourist destination due to the Pennsylvania Dutch, or Amish, heritage here. There's so much to see and do, including 29 covered bridges in the county, the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, and lots of Amish-themed attractions. We recommend a stop at Baldwin's Book Barn if you're a book lover. You'll find over 300,000 used and rare books in the cozy 5-story historic barn. A drive west from Lancaster County through the countryside will perfectly put you in the harvest mindset for fall, and will take you to the historic Civil War site of Gettysburg. Whether you are just a casual history enthusiast or a true history buff, Gettysburg should be at the top of your list for historic tourism in the country, both because of its important role in the Civil War and for how well preserved of a battlefield it is. The surrounding landscape is perfectly picturesque in the fall, and you should keep your eyes peeled for a ghost or two. Gettysburg has been known to make lists as one of the most haunted places in America. Ready for Halloween, anyone?
Heading down south a bit and back to a higher elevation, you'll find the Great Smoky Mountains, a national park and mountain range that encompass a large area of the western edge of North Carolina and the eastern edge of Tennessee. Fun fact, the Great Smoky Mountains are the most visited national park every year, and it's easy to see why. The fall foliage here is so beautiful, and the quiet beauty of places will take your breath away. There are specific places like Cade's Cove, which is a naturist loop that has plenty of wildlife. My family and I once had a bear stop traffic there while driving through, and also Clingman's Dome, the highest point in the Smokies and the third highest point east of the Mississippi. Then stroll the streets, shop and dine in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. One of the best places to go in fall in this area is the Apple Barn and Cider Mill in Sevierville. Perched along the western prong of the Little Pigeon River, this restaurant and general store has all things apple. The barn has been there since the 1910s and is filled with all sorts of treats. Growing up, we would visit the restaurant for a cozy breakfast, complete with apple fritters and apple julep, and then walk out to the river to skip a few stones. Oh, and we can't forget the hometown hero and national treasure, Dolly Parton. No visit to the Smokies would be complete without a visit to Dollywood, which has something to do for the whole family and annual fall-themed events. With these great attractions, all the things to do, and the gorgeous nature all around, our list just had to include the Great Smoky Mountains.
Just to the east of the Great Smoky Mountains, located along the Blue Ridge Parkway, is Asheville, North Carolina, a fall staple for our family in particular, as it's just a stone's throw away from our home in Greenville, South Carolina. Because Asheville is a mid-sized city surrounded by the mountains, both nature lovers and city lovers can find something to enjoy during the fall months in the area. Apple picking is popular in the fall in western North Carolina. There are a multitude of orchards in the area, and the great thing is that there are so many that you can choose the style that fits best for you. Personally, we love the historic orchard at Alta Pass, which has some of the most beautiful views in the area. You can also visit the Biltmore Estate, which has tons to do, including a tour of the gorgeous chateau-style house, which is the largest privately owned house in America, and linked to the famed Vanderbilt family. More on that in a later video. The house aside, though, there's also a winery, gardens, and hotel to keep the family entertained, and the entire 8,000-acre grounds are lovely, lit up in fall color. I recommend a picnic by the lagoon on the grounds, overlooking the back of the mansion. Other things you can do in Asheville in the fall include visiting the Omni Grove Park Inn, which is an arts and crafts style resort that was built in 1913. It's also listed on the National Register of Historic Places and gives great views of the Blue Ridge Mountains that will make the perfect Instagram photo.
Shifting gears from the mountainous terrains of the last few on our list, we find ourselves in the city that never sleeps. And while we'd likely tell anyone that New York City is one of the best places to be all year round, we're being sincere when we tell you that fall in New York City is truly something special. You don't have the heat of summer and the Christmas crowds haven't poured in, and yes, there are Christmas crowds. That's a story for another video. There's a little chill in the air, but it's just cool enough that you can stroll through the city with ease and without the air being too hot or too cold. The many parks in NYC are partially what makes the city so beautiful in fall. Some of the best shots of Central Park include gorgeous fall color and the lovely Bow Bridge. If you go in October, the Central Park Conservancy puts on Halloween at the Harlem Mere Pumpkin Flotilla. In this free fun event, you can drop off the pumpkin that you carved yourself and watch as it floats with tons of other pumpkins in what is basically a floating parade. You can even retrieve your pumpkin at the conclusion. Who could forget New York Fashion Week in early fall? And then there's that little parade that Macy's puts on at Thanksgiving every year. I mean, come on. With being home to the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, one of the season's greatest traditions, if you ask us, we just had to put NYC on our list.
Okay, before you start typing a comment about how we gave 3 spots on our list to New York, just hear us out here for one main reason: Sleepy Hollow. So we haven't touched on it much in this video so far, but for many people, Halloween and the fall season go hand in hand. Sleepy Hollow, New York is one of the best places to go if you're looking for that creepy, haunted Halloween feeling. Just about an hour above New York City, Sleepy Hollow sits in a gorgeous spot along the Hudson River and is well known for the legend of Sleepy Hollow, Washington Irving's tale of the Headless Horseman. And the city really leans into this storied tale, with a headless horseman statue in the center of town and festive celebrations each October. All of this centers around Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, a must-visit spot where author Washington Irving himself is buried along with other notables like Andrew Carnegie and Walter Chrysler. But beyond just Sleepy Hollow, an admittedly small destination, the Hudson River Valley is one of the most gorgeous and picturesque spots in the country, all year round. But the fall is one of the best times to see it too, lit up in the fall color this region of the country is known for. Consider stopping by one of the many spots for apple and pumpkin picking, corn mazes, etc. along the way, and at night in the town of Croton-on-Hudson, visit the great jack-o'-lantern blaze, with thousands of pumpkins carved, arranged, and lit up in more ways than you can imagine.
Next up on the spookier side of our list is Salem, Massachusetts. Yes, for the reasons which you can probably guess. Arguably, no other city in the United States is as synonymous with dark history as Salem, the site of the infamous witch trials of 1692. And if you think the city shies away from this dark history, well, you'd be wrong. And for you Halloween lovers out there, that's exactly why it's on our list. Yes, there's lots to do in Salem this time of year, and so much of the city is built around the well-known witch hunt history, in a way that sort of takes control of the witch narrative. The city's motto is still making history. The city's logo is a nautical take on a witch hat, and even the Salem High School sports teams are, you guessed it, the witches. Fans of the now cult classic Hocus Pocus will enjoy seeing some of the filming locations around town, as the movie wasn't just set there, but actually filmed in Salem for 2 weeks. As far as tourism goes, there is the Salem Witch Museum to visit, tons of historic homes in sight, and a somber, sobering memorial to the truly sad history of the Salem witch trials. If you're hoping for more than just witches, though, Salem still has plenty of well-known history to offer, the House of Seven Gables, for example. And as you can probably tell from the rest of our list, the Northeast in general is really the place to be in the fall. If not for the foliage, then for how well the New England architecture lends itself to the season, and nowhere is that more evident than here in Salem. A word of warning though, Salem is to Halloween what New York City is to Christmas, so be prepared for crowded attractions with long lines if you head there this time of year. Before we tell you about our last recommendation for places to visit in the fall, make sure you subscribe to our channel if you're interested in seeing more place-based content like this. Also, be sure to comment down below and let us know if you agree with our suggestions, or if you think they're just a bunch of hocus pocus.
If your favorite part of the fall season is Halloween and all of the creepy, spooky, ghosty things that come with it, then you'll probably want to head down south to Savannah, Georgia. Now, as South Carolinians ourselves, it's not often that we'd tell you to visit Savannah rather than nearby Charleston, sort of a sister city, which it often gets compared to. But even though Charleston certainly has its share of spooky spots, Savannah has long been considered one of the most haunted cities in the country. Have you heard of Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil? It's about right here in Savannah, and the cover of the book is from the historic Bonaventure Cemetery, definitely a spot on our must-visit list of the city. The statues and cemetery art are fascinating to see, and the moss hanging from the trees will really nail that Halloween vibe. If you're still looking for spooky things to do in the city, there are several options for ghost tours, from an open-air trolley to riding around in a hearse. Ghosts and haunted attractions aside, the unique layout and eclectic architecture in Savannah lend themselves well to fall decor. You'll want to make sure to take time to explore. Even though the South is a little slower at getting that picturesque fall color, Savannah's squares and parks offer more abundant green space than most cities to watch those colors trickle in.
Well, all right, there you have it. Placeology's favorite fall places. What did you think about them? Would these places be at the top of your list of places to visit in the fall? Are there any that we got all wrong? Leave a comment and let us know your favorite fall places. Thanks, everyone.